going on, Music Heads? It's your man Louie T here with another brand new installment of Music Head University. I got an interesting episode for you today. So I have a snippet of an interview that I had with rapper Big Pooh, one half of the iconic rap duo Little Brother. And in that conversation, we briefly talked about rap beef, how he feels about it, and of course that led to the rap beef that we just saw take place of Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And he had a very interesting perspective on that beef, some of in part due to the fact that he's worked with each of the big three, right? Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole at various points of their career. So he has a different perspective on the matter. And plus, he's a rapper. So he looks at it from a different lens. I found all of that to be very, very interesting. And we're going to talk about that today. And I'm going to play that snippet for you. Music heads, class is in session. Turn me up. So, having had that conversation with rapper Big Pooh, I felt like it was only right to play that snippet for you guys so that we could react to what it was that he had to say. And I'm always interested in a different perspective and point of view. This is one that we can't have. We're not rappers. We're not in the game. We don't know Drake. We don't know Kendrick Lamar. We don't know J. Cole. We don't have that working knowledge of, having worked with them and maybe being in their mind just a tad bit, having, the perspective of someone in the game. Rapper Big Pooh brings all of that to the table. I found some of his takes to be very interesting, including where he thought this battle was won and lost. And so, without any further ado, let's hear from rapper Big Pooh on how he feels about rap beef in general, and then what he thought of the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. I'll see you on the other side. Take a listen. Look who carved out some time for us. For those of you who don't know, this is one half of the iconic rap duo, Little Brother. Also a hell of a solo artist. If you haven't checked out his latest project, To Dream in Color, do yourself a favor, do that. As you're going to find out today, he's more than beats. He's more than rhymes. Please, y'all, he's not your average everyday find. Talking about the incomparable rapper, Big Pooh. Thank you for joining us today, man. How you doing?
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man. I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. I woke up to see another day, so
I hear that, bro.
All Likewise. You can do is smile. Absolutely.
I second that. So I wanted to start off because I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't start off talking about a little bit of music. I wanted to ask you two questions in particular. All right. Okay. So one, what do you think of rap beefs? Two, give me your overall take on the latest beef that we just witnessed, Kendrick versus Drake.
Rap beefs. I don't have a problem with them as long as they stay music. You know what I'm saying? Music oriented. Yeah. We've lost, greats to real beefs. You know what I mean? They weren't just on wax. They was very personal. Right. But I don't have a problem with it as long as they stay on wax, and I don't even care about them getting personal. I was me and Fonte and I, we were talking, obviously during this whole thing, and one of the things we were really trying to figure out, or at least I was trying to figure out, is I know when it did, but how rap beefs have become more. Now it's more so what's the gossip, we need something salacious to reveal in order to win the rap beef. When back in the day, like I was listening to the old Beanie Siegel and Jada disses, and it was, I rap better than you,
right?
And I'm gonna show you how many creative ways I can rhyme about killing you.
Right.
Which and I don't think they really wanted to kill each other, but
right.
That was the extent of it. You didn't get personal stuff. you know, a
It's
lot of
funny
personal.
that you say that because rap beefs originated where it wasn't even really beef. It was like who could rock the mic the best,
The
right?
best.
Who could
Yeah.
move the party, right? Who could move the
Right.
party the best, right? That's how it originated, right? And somewhere along the lines, it went from there to now I'm paying somebody to get information on you to try and you know what I'm saying. Like it's crazy where we've evolved to or de-evolved,
It,
if you
it's
will.
it's more about embarrassing
Yeah,
embarrassing you personally than
yeah,
it is skill.
that's right.
Um, but overall, I don't have a big problem with them. Like I said, as long as they stay where they need to stay, and that's on wax
Yeah,
or online or whatever. Um, as far as the one we just experienced,
yeah.
that was a strategic. That was a lesson in strategy. That's what it was. My whole thing about it always, well, not always, but it ended up being these two gentlemen were in a cold war of sorts, right? They were trading subs for over a decade.
Yes.
With that being said, if I'm trading subs with somebody for over a decade, if the other person decides they want to jump all the way out the porch and call me out and
Yeah.
really go, I'm like, okay, not that I'm scared to go, but I'm like, okay, hold on, let me take a step back because you got a plan.
Yeah.
I have to believe that you have some sort of plan for you to say, okay, today's the day.
Right.
And I believe that wasn't discussed on one side. That the possibility of the plan wasn't discussed.
I'll go ahead and name for you. You're talking about Aubrey, okay? He wasn't prepared, right?
He wasn't prepared, and I don't know if that was hubris or
Yeah.
ego or whatever it is. I don't know. Don't really not too concerned about it, but
Right.
I just don't think he was prepared for what became. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and that was that where it was won.
Yeah.
Like before we get to the rapping, the beat picking, the information, whether lies or not, who cares? But it was the strategy.
That's right.
Where you lost. Like
Absolutely.
you lost before you started because of the strategy. And I thought that was brilliant.
Absolutely.
that was
It
brilliant.
was so tactical on Kendrick's part because so many people were killing him. I think it was like a 14-day period between when Drake dropped the push-ups.
Push-ups, yeah.
And when he responded with Euphoria, and everybody was like, oh, and we had people doing Kendrick response counters and all of that stuff. And that whole time he was in the lab cooking
in the
up
lab.
crap. And he had him in the tuck and he was ready.
Ready.
And when he dropped Euphoria, he had another one. And then he had another one. And then he had another one.
and that was the thing. It was like, it was almost like an ambush. Like you fired and you got ambushed. And then when you thought it was safe to poke your head up, you got ambushed again. I mean, just to have the track that I don't care what he said, that was his red button.
Oh yeah.
When he had the visual component to go with it.
Oh yeah.
And to have that stepped on not even an hour later.
Yeah.
Was something that totally changes the mood. I think Joe Budden said that. Like you have, once again, before you get into the rapping or any of that, the beat, like it changed the whole mood. And now attention go. The mood changed so much that nobody was talking about the supposed red button that he dropped. I mean, people obviously it was in mind, but it was like, holy shit. Like I've never seen somebody step on somebody's record the way Kendrick stepped on that record. And that just goes back to strategy.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It was so crazy. He dropped that video and he did it at like 11 o'clock at night. So he probably thought, okay, I got him, right? I got him. Right? Because he's not responding at midnight, right? And what he failed to realize is that he was planning on all of this. And my thing with Drake too, with this whole thing was he was going with this whole 20v1 narrative, right? And I'm like, bro, you really need to just focus all of your attention on Kendrick.
It's one versus one right now.
Like you so worried about spreading around smoke for all of these different dudes. And the one guy you really need to be focused on is killing you right now, right?
And that
And
was part of the issue. That was part strategy.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And then, one more thing. How about J. Cole's decision to back out of that thing after he realized, I really don't want this smoke, right? People were killing J. Cole for, apologizing for 7-Minute Drill. But in the aftermath of what Kendrick did to Drake, I think a lot of people gained a greater appreciation for. And you know what's crazy about their situation is they really didn't have any beef.
No,
They really didn't have any beef. That was just people getting in
Cole.
J. Cole's ear, telling him that you better than these dudes, you better than him. Because for a long time they were teasing a project together, right?
Yeah, I think they're, like you said. I mean, Cole even said it himself, and I just want to say this: people were calling, and obviously someone retracted that after they seen what happened, but they were calling Cole, weak and all types of things, and I always said that the way he apologized, the fact he apologized, the public apology at his festival on stage in front of 20, 30, 40,000, how many people were there, like that wasn't weakness. That took a lot of guts, strength, to know you're going to be ridiculed on some level, and to make your apology as loud as the diss track was. And I just think probably through conversations and him realizing it, like, yo, this really didn't have anything to do about me. I don't think he thought about it at the time, because obviously he was caught up in it, but I don't think he realized at the time, like, Kendrick was sending you a warning, and it wasn't a warning about, I'm going to diss you. It was a warning of who you standing beside.
Right.
And I think once he started realizing all that through, like I said, through conversations, through regret of doing it, whatever it was, I think once he realized that, it was like, okay, I got to definitely step out this thing, because Kendrick was focused.
Yeah.
His focus all along was on one person.
Absolutely.
Like we said, Drake should have been focused on one person.
That's
Kendrick's whole focus was on one person. So, I think Cole just realized that and said, this ain't my ball game, right?
Yeah, no. He's like, you sure? Like, Kendrick was like, you sure you want to do this?
You sure?
You sure you want to do this? And Cole was like, you know what? Nah. And you can't get much more sincere than, like you said, doing it in front of 20, 30,000 people on stage, knowing what's going to come of that, but understanding this means more to me than what could potentially happen if I don't do this. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
Kudos to Cole and Cole's never been one to really care about what people think. So he wasn't really going to be fazed about what people kind of said about him in doing that. He knew, in order for me to have a peace of mind, because that's what's more important to him.
Yeah, I gotta step out this thing.
Yeah.
And in full disclosure to the watchers and listeners, if you don't know, I'm, to be transparent, I've worked with all three gentlemen at different points of their career. And the one thing I'll say about Cole is, as genuine as he come across, that's how genuine he is.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I saw him taking that step to apologize, I was like, yeah, like whatever he's saying, he really means that. Yeah. Like, and my only question for Cole would have been through this whole thing was, hey man, what made you think that was for you, bro?
Right.
Right. Nothing in that even when I heard it, I was like, yeah, nah, that sounds like a warning to, hey, you might want to step away from this guy for a while, if not period. Like, that's what I heard when I heard it. Like, so that would have been my, I guess whenever I talk to Cole again, that's gonna be my only question. Hey, bro, what made you thought that was about you?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But hey, man, our ego get the best of all of us at some point in time.
Facts. So, I'm just glad he was able to wrangle his in enough time to save himself from having to jump into an arena that he really didn't want to get into.
No, because that got messy.
That got messy fast. That was like a shooting star. That beef was, like you said, the subs were over about a decade long. Pretty much after the Control verse,
Yes.
We've had, subs back and forth, but as long as we waited for this thing to finally bubble up, it was so quick. You
Quick.
know, it was
A
like a
week.
shooting
Well,
star. It just exploded, right?
it
It was
felt like a week,
beautiful,
but
and it was gone just like that.
just like that. And I, seeing the memes of, oh no, please continue. We could be back to $200 dates and rents due posts. Like, bring back the beef. Like that was the funny part. Like, no. Let's bring back decoding these lyrics again. I wanna read about quintuple entendres. Like
Entendres.
I don't want to read about $200 dates today. Like,
Oh man, that's hilarious, man. Oh, so many good things came out of that. So, what were your overall takes on what rapper Big Pooh had to say? Leave it down in the comment section. How do you feel about how he felt this beef was won, essentially? And I find that fascinating that he said, before you even pick a beat, before you even put pen to paper and you start, coming up with a rhyme or coming up with a diss, you need to strategize on how you're going to execute. And it was the execution or lack thereof by Drake. He just jumped out. And like he said, he just jumped off the porch. And you would think after a decade or so, as he mentioned, of subs, if you're going to finally take that leap out there and go full bore and go after a guy like Kendrick Lamar, you would have thought Drake would have been more prepared. He was ill prepared. Clearly, K-Dot was prepared. Once he took those 14 days or so between push-ups and Euphoria to get all of his ducks lined up, we saw the end result. And Drake clearly was not ready. And we talked about this. Remember, when we were live after Drake released, what was it called? Family Matters. When he released Family Matters, I said he just played his ace, right? And you heard rapper Big Pooh say that was he was pushing a button there, right? And I said he pushed the button, that was his ace. Clearly, with the visuals and all of that, he thought he was about to kill the game with Family Matters. Little did he know that Meet the Grams and, Not Like Us was right on the horizon and on deck. Literally, Meet the Grams was on deck, and right behind that was Not Like Us. And Drake didn't stand a chance. And so I was really interested in Pooh's take. That, and you heard what he said about J. Cole and how it took a lot of gumption. It took literally someone putting their ego aside to do it in the manner. And I never thought about it from that perspective where because I know, and I talked about how I feel like J. Cole wasn't too concerned with the perception that was going to follow him after the apology. He was more concerned with his peace of mind, and that mattered to him more. But I didn't think about it from the standpoint of how he did it. Him doing it in that setting, in front of all those people, you knew it was going to get on social media. So in essence, it was just as, if not louder, than 7-Minute Drill. And it showed sincerity, and it also took a lot of ego and pride being pushed aside to admit that a mistake was made and to offer that olive branch. I didn't think about it from that perspective. But all I thought about was Cole's sincere. He was very apologetic. He couldn't sleep. I believe him. It was tearing him up. And he's really cool. And to rapper Big Pooh's point, J. Cole's perspective, or what he perceived to be J. Cole's perspective on, hearing Kendrick on the Future and Metro Boomin song, and how in Big Pooh's mind, like, bro, that wasn't a diss. That was more of a warning. Like, hey, you don't want to stand too close to this man. I'd hate for you to catch a stray should this thing turn to warfare. I'd hate for you to be too close to the target and catch a couple of strays, because it could happen, and it probably will happen. You might want to distance yourself from him. That's how Rapper Big Pooh interpreted, Kendrick's verse on the Future and Metro Boomin song. And clearly Cole might have heard something different there, and it almost got ugly for him. So I found all of that to be interesting. What says you? Leave it down in the comment section. Can't wait to read your responses. Really want to thank Rapper Big Pooh once again for providing me with the time. He was so generous with his time, and I look forward to having him on this channel, strictly talking music, because I had him on a different channel and we were talking more sports. But I'm going to have him on the channel, and he's already told me, just hit him up and we can make it happen. And I got a lot of questions about, I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary, May the Lord Watch. It's the same title as the last album that Little Brother put out, May the Lord Watch, which was just a crazy album. After years without a project from those two, to have them come back and give us what they gave us back in 2019 was outstanding. And Rapper Big Pooh has put out a solo project since then, To Dream in Color, and he's working on a new project. So I'm looking forward to seeing when that is finished and what it sounds like. But in the meantime, go check out his last project if you haven't already done that. Check out May the Lord Watch, and that's on YouTube, on the Little Brother channel. It's a great watch. It's a great documentary, and it really gives you insight as to, how 3 became 2, the trials and tribulations of Little Brother and how they got to where they are today. It's a great watch. I recommend it to anybody. And as he corrected me, if you want to see the full-length interview, go over to my other channel, LouieTeeNetwork. The whole interview is over there, and check it out. And at the end we talked about May the Lord Watch, and he said it's not just for fans, because to me it's something that if you're a fan of Little Brother, it's must see TV. You have to watch that. But he's like, we made it so, we were intentional in making it so that even if you didn't know who Little Brother was, you would still be able to watch and be captivated by it. So even if you're not a Little Brother fan, I recommend you watch May the Lord Watch. It was well done, and it's great insight into one of the best rap groups we've seen in the last 25 years. So anyway, I can't wait to read your responses. Leave them down in the comment section. What do you think about what Rapper Big Pooh had to say about beef in general, and then about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef in particular, and also J. Cole's involvement in all of this? Music Heads, class is always in session. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. Peace.